Welcome to another episode of Taryn's Triathlon Time. So I didn't shoot one of these last week because since I decided not to do Ironman California, I just didn't want to put any sort of like negative vibes out into, the social medias, because at that rate, that was last Friday. People were supposed to be racing this, the race was supposed to happen, and didn't want to have a cloud hanging over anybody. Ironically, a really big cloud did roll in on Sunday morning or Saturday night, I guess, and completely, dashed any hopes of anybody racing. As it turned out, that race was canceled. Nobody raced, which is pretty awful. So don't care about that. But I'm really glad that they actually did cancel the race, because wow, what carnage there would have been. I mean, that storm was insane. Anywho, last time I came, so 2 weeks ago, I was pretty much decided I wasn't going to do Ironman California. And then a couple days later, got a little pep in my step, talked to some good friends who are much more hardcore and amazing than I am. And I thought, maybe I'll give it a shot. So packed my bags on Wednesday. My leg was still hurting, but I was like, maybe it'll be okay by Sunday. No matter what, we'll give it a shot. I just want to try. I just wanted to see how far I could go. That was basically my goal. I at least wanted to do the swim. Hopefully the bike wasn't too confident on the run, but whatever. Cut to Thursday morning. I had these tests I needed to do, an ultrasound on my leg to make sure I didn't have any DVTs, and then some more x-rays on my leg. And I was just like, what would I really, what's the ultimate, what do I really get out of this race if I race it? And it just didn't quite make sense to me if I would do any more damage to my leg and not come back to running. Or if that could prolong that, it just wasn't worth it to me. So I decided on Thursday not to race. If you click the link in my bio, you can read all about what, a little more turmoil, whatever. What I was really feeling, that's in my blog, so feel free to read that. Anyhow, here we are. And the good news is, I think that rest was honestly, so I just didn't really do anything last weekend, and I do think it was just the best thing I needed, because this week I've been running just fine, which is odd, but miraculous, and I love it, and that's great. So pretty much back in action. I mean, not doing a whole lot right now, obviously, but definitely feeling good, so that's fine. As far as the books this week, this one, just about finished with Courage is Calling. It's the newest one from Ryan Holiday. I'm a big fan of Ryan Holiday. I've read most of his books. This one's really great. He's much more sort of punchy in it as far as motivation, and just kind of it's all about courage. And next up is this one's been around for a couple of years, but it's so good. The Library Book by Susan Orlean. This is incredible. Anyone who is into reading and books as much as I am, you will just love this. I am so stoked. Well, for a couple reasons. A, this book is just so well written and it's so fun. It's a historical masterpiece. It basically centers around the LA City library fire that happened in 1986, which I remember. It was a huge fire. It happened in 1986. I was actually only 6 years old, but I remember it happening. It was a really big deal in Los Angeles. And she just goes into that with the investigation, but then it's this whole historical telling of libraries basically in the country. And it's just an amazing story. And the cool thing is, I actually got that at our library because it just finally reopened, and that's very exciting. So strongly recommend that book. And then this is a classic that I have just in my own personal library that is the best, my favorite book on writing. And it is called On Writing by Stephen King. I've read this book twice, and I go back to it every once in a while. It is just, as you can tell, lots of Post-it notes. It's so good. If you want to start or having any sort of writing practice, I strongly recommend reading that. It goes into his story, how he became a writer, what he's doing now. It's just incredible. So recommend that book too. What else? Something I do want to touch on, that this whole, if you read my blog, kind of, get the fact that last 2 weeks really have been, maybe not this last 3 weeks now, whatever. It's been a challenge. October's been kind of a rough one. So But not being able to run and sort of having a forced stop of basically things that I'd love to do, really, I did a lot of mental and emotional exercising, I would say. Really kind of looking in and doing a lot of work under the hood, as they say. And I am actually in pursuit of finding a therapist. That's a treat. What's interesting about that? So I was in therapy when I was a kid, but I was put in therapy by my parents. So like I had no choice of like who my therapist was going to be. And now it's like my own decision, and it's sort of, you know, finding the right person, finding the right fit. It's a whole different ball of wax when it's, you know, it's when it's your choice. So, but I do think that's really important because my friends are incredible. That I've confide in, and also my family. But, you know, it's not really there. You know, we need to talk to a professional. I think it's really important, and to really get help that way. I think everybody needs to be in therapy. Honestly, I think we all do. I've been saying that for a long time, and I haven't been in therapy since the 90s. So, but I think I'm ready. I think I'm ready for that. But it's, you know, it's going to be a challenge. It's definitely stuff that I'm aware of. But you know, we gotta take a deep dive. We gotta take a deep dive. So, anywho, and that's coming from someone that clearly I express myself fairly often in all sorts of ways, and I still feel like I have work to do and things to work through. So, as far as like actually getting things out and, you know, progressing and growing as a person, which is really, that's what we're here for, right? All right then. Well, I don't want to end it on a big dour note, but it's not. It's just life. It's just reality, and I'm all about, you know, trying to be better for myself and for everyone every single day. So a lot of it has to do with training and swim biking and running, but it also has to do with, you know, just being a human being. And there we are. So I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. I hope to be back next week with this. Again, that camp is starting on Thursday, and we run all day Friday, so not entirely sure. But I will try to, and there we go. In the meantime, hope you have a great week. See you soon.